Now, some of you probably haven't heard me for a while, and that's because I've kind of been adjusting to this new kind of life. So basically this video is all about how to get ready for university. Now I'm in my first year. I'm now doing physics and astrophysics here at UCLan. I just thought I'd make this video to kind of let you know what's going to be coming up on the channel. Should probably change the view a little bit, to be honest. There you go. So I thought I'd make this video to let you know what's going to be coming up on the channel, what you can expect over the next few years from this channel, and just a general kind of like what's been going on. Okay, so I'll just kick off with what's going to be going on the channel to start with. Obviously not going to be doing more economics videos. The subjects to the A-level videos I will do some occasionally, but obviously, as you may have noticed, I'm now at university, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to actually be able to do the A-level videos, because it's quite an intense course this already. But like I said, this video is mainly going to be talking about getting ready for university, but just finishing off how this channel is going to be going over the next few years. I'll be doing, because the university course is kind of divided into 4 sections really, and with being first year physics, everyone who does physics does exactly the same course. So you are going to be seeing not just the astrophysics side, you're also going to be seeing the physics of applied physics, maths, that kind of stuff. But you're also going to be having a bit of a look at what kind of you might have already seen previous at A-level. And that's obviously because one of the first things that universities do is try and make sure everyone's at the same level. So I think that covers it. So for the actual videos that I'm going to be doing, the topics, they're going to be categorised by the actual whatever it is I'm doing in my lectures. I'll just regurgitate it out in front of the camera. Now you might have noticed I've not got a whiteboard behind me. That's because unfortunately, an issue, whiteboards tend to be nailed to walls. Mine was as well, wasn't glued with some blue tack. So that's still at home. Just home is not there, it's quite a way away. Yeah, so I couldn't bring that with me. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to speak to you like this and then draw a few notes, and I've got the monitor TV thing here, so I might put the camera over behind me and create some documents to go through as I'm doing the videos. Depends what the topic is, or I might just talk through it. But there is certain spaces where the whiteboards at my uni, and I'll have a bit of a think about if I can do a video in there, and you might see a few other people on my course bobbing on the channel as well. But anyway, so that's what's going to be happening. Now let's crack on. So in terms of getting ready for university, I've kind of thought of doing this video because, well, let's face it, you'd be doing A-level at this moment, excuse me, and it might be something you're thinking about, or it might not be something you've not considered, but thought it's a new video on the channel, I'll watch it. I'm going to be starting off by just kind of giving an intro on my first few weeks here. As I say, I'm only in my first year at the moment. This is being recorded about mid-October, and I arrived here in about a month and a bit ago, and it was quite an experience. This is my room. I'll just quickly show it you. So just apologise for the disgusting state of the room at the moment, but this is basically what kind of room I'm currently living in now. Obviously that's all a bit of a mess, and so is that, but that's the monitor I might be working off in the future. But this is, as you can see, a bit of pots there, but it's not that bad. So your rooms at uni will kind of be, depending on where you're going to go, obviously, it'll be all the same. Now I'm in a what they call a city centre uni, so basically I can't really show you at the moment because it's dark outside, but it's like working in a city, obviously, Manchester, whatever. You know what a city is, I'm not going to insult your intelligence like that. But it's very much aware that you're just going from one building to another. I mean, many people hear about city unis and campus unis and go, oh, I really want a campus uni, or really want a city uni. I'll be honest with you, I wanted a campus uni. but I've ended up in a city uni and I've adapted to it, and it's perfect, it's great, I love it. And you actually end up getting the feel that it's all like a campus anyway, just other people happen to be living randomly from the human world in your campus as well, which is a little bit worrying, but I get on with it, they don't bother me, so it's all good. But the end kind of criteria of it is that it's not that much of an issue. For me personally, I'm different with different people, but I found that it's like a big uni, everyone is dead friendly. Obviously, if you go to places, you know, Liverpool, I'm only kidding, people from Liverpool, before I get attacked. There are many cities that, you know, obviously are a little bit more worse, but there's, for city unis in particular, you get given routes that will say go from best place into town, best place back to your uni. So that was cities and campus, right? So anyway, back to the first few days. So I arrived here I took my monitor, computer, I took some past A-level stuff, which I actually really recommend, because in your first year you will just be covering what people have already done in the past year, so you'll need, I'm not saying you'll need it, but it will definitely help. I've looked through it once or twice, and that's really helped me just refresh. I mean, you might have done it over the summer, so you might not need it, but it's nice something to have a look. Depends how much storage room is in your actual uni, so that's something to consider. I took with me some, obviously, pyjamas or whatever, and then some basic toiletries. Now, depending on what uni you go to and what's provided, you might need to have a look at that, but it's basically just have a look at what you need. So anyway, I said I've got my TV, computer, I bought my docking station for my iPod, a lamp, I bought a load of cutlery, so that's all the electrical stuff, brought an extra pair of shoes, and I bought some football stuff along the way, but I've also brought a load of shampoos. But you can get that if you get here, depends where you're going, how you're getting there. Some basic clothes, and then I bought a few while I'm here, and tops, shirts, whatever, so just a bunch of clothes. I've also brought, as I said, cutlery, pots, pans, washing up liquid, just basic necessities really. I didn't bring anything too over the top, because you end up spending quite a bit in Freshers Week getting what you need. But I would say, like, you know, pillows, obviously I wouldn't leave a pillow until I got here, because that's cheaper just to bring a pillow. So that's what I brought. Now, in terms of writing your name and everything, because I think that's one of the biggest things that you need to tackle, is a lot of people go, oh, I've got to write my name, absolutely everything. Now, personally for me in this flat, I'm not saying this because my flatmates are literally sat next to me. Well, not in the room obviously, but about the flat. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, they're sat there, but they're very, very good in terms of, when I first came here, I had post-it notes. I've got little post-it notes, I'll show you. I said I'll show you if I've even got them. I don't know where they are, it doesn't matter. That's organised now. But I put my post-it notes, permanent marker and everything. Absolutely everything. I wrote my name, absolutely everything, because I thought, I don't know who I'm going to be going with. But in the end, I've just left it and I've just gone, you can use it if you want, as long as you buy it back, it's not a problem. I've kept my toilet cleaning stuff in here, I've kept my everything that personally I don't really want anyone else using, I've got it in here. Like toilet paper or, you know, hand soap or my shampoos, I've kept them all in here just so that I know no one's going to use them, but it's not an issue. So that's what I've brought. When I first arrived, it was a little bit disconcerting because I might get a picture or two of where I actually am, but I don't think you're really interested in that. Might pop up on the screen now. Nope, sorry about that. Yeah, so that's basically all the stuff you need. So the first few days, okay, so I've already said that. So when I moved in, I obviously unpacked all my stuff, as you would do, it's obvious. But I had to book a slot to turn up to my uni. The first day was a bit weird because I kind of got here and it was like, what are you meant to do? Like, once you've unpacked, I mean, I had to clean my room, which is a bit ridiculous, but you probably won't have to do that. So I unpacked, and then you're sitting here and you go, what the bloody hell am I actually meant to do? What I personally did was I quick walk around the uni, kind of sussed out where all the main shops were. So that's something I would recommend rather than like a week down the line going, where the hell do I get my pens from? I mean, particularly in UCLan, and this is for really anyone interested in going to UCLan, is everything is so close to you. Whether in a campus uni or city uni, this being a city, you literally just walk out and you can get absolutely, because you're on a city centre, and it's right next to the train station, so it's great. And most campus unis, city unis, will be like that because it's a city. They're likely to have a train station somewhere in the city. So that was the first day, just getting used to it. And then the first week, Freshers Week. Now, this is something I personally want to mention quite a lot about. I, as you can probably tell, am not the kind of person to go out every single night. This is my life, sat with my computer. Who needs friends, right? Yeah, well, surprisingly, I do. And for other people who say that as well, you can now say that because a guy sat in front of a camera is now saying it as well, so it's perfectly acceptable. So anyway, it's kind of a bit weird Freshers Week, because if people say, oh, you've got to go to everything, you've got to put yourself out there. But let's be honest, I didn't. Went to 1 or 2 events, but my course already had 4, I don't mean to scare you, I'm not saying for every uni, I had 4 tests in the first week, which will lead me on to something quite big. One of the big, when I talk about the changes between adapting from college to uni, I will mention something about the tests, but I'll leave it to them. So I had tests in the first week, so I didn't go to that many Freshers events. And you do have lectures in your first Freshers Week. You don't have to go to them all, but you should really, because at the end of the day, you need to know what you're studying when your lectures are, and they might tell you something important that you might miss. So even if it's a 9 AM lecture and you've just been out the night before, it might help you to go to that lecture, because you might go, you get given a book. I got given, obviously my university is quite thinking that you're paying 9 and a bit grand a year, you should get some free books, which is completely reasonable, right? So this is one of the books I got. It's basically an astronomy book, and it's generally got just pictures of the different telescopes, and then talking through the equations, and you kind of follow books. But again, I'll go through that when we talk about the changes between college and uni. Continuing the first few days, so Freshers Week, like I said, it's absolutely loaded with events, and people said this to me, you need to grab as much free shit as you can, and that's exactly what I did. I actually got a Domino's t-shirt just so I could get a free pizza, and I ended up using the t-shirt a lot more than I thought I would, because I'm a cheap piece of rubbish. So grab as much free stuff as you can, and the events are great. I booked, there was loads of welcome meals, and I went to, was it an Islamic welcome meal? And I don't even follow really any kind of religion, before someone kips me up the backside. So I just went to it because there's free food there. I had to wait ages unless someone's speaking about the religion, but I got free food, so it's something to go for, free food. Anything with free or fair means free. So that's the first week. And then after the first week, you're kind of getting settled into your lectures and what they're talking about, and then you get into the swing of it. But for the first few weeks, and especially for other courses that aren't as intensive, your first few weeks are dead easy. Physics, you're going to Italian, course test in the first week. Obviously it's going to be difficult, it's physics. So that's the first few days. Now I'm going to go on to just the changes between college and uni. So one of the biggest changes, I was just mentioning before about the tests. In college you obviously have exams or coursework. You either do a BTEC or you do an A-level. Uni, you kind of do both. So if you really liked just doing exams, great, you will do exams. If you really like doing coursework, great, you do coursework. But you have to compromise, because like I said, one of the biggest changes, I haven't said it yet, one of the biggest changes is you don't have an exam board to follow. You've had through GCSE, you've had AQA, EdExcel, OCR, through A-level you've had them as well, but then you get to uni, it's like, what exam board do I have? And we don't actually have an exam board for uni. The university just sets its own tests, its indoor tests, and it will give you a grade based on what it thinks you deserve. So that's that out of the way. So how do you actually know what work you're going to be doing? Well, all courses are the same. They're credited by the IOP. This is for physics. They're credited by the Institute of Physics, and every uni has to go through that. So they're all going to be vaguely similar. You know, doing a physics and astrophysics degree here at UCLan is pretty much the same as doing a physics and astrophysics degree all the way in London. I mean, it might be a better teacher, lecturer, or whatever. You might do different topics, but at the end of the day, you're going to be inclined to the same amount of physics. So you can tell it's quite intense. Right, okay, so that's out of the way with. The next thing I was going to mention was... Oh yeah, so these tests, right, you obviously have an exam board, you can therefore look up past papers, and you can also therefore, the next key thing is formula sheets. And yes, oh my, do you miss those formula sheets? I've only been here, like I said, a month and a bit, right, and I've already thanked myself more days than I've been alive for about how anal I was at A-level with remembering formulas and constants. Yes, you have to remember constants. In the 4 tests I've done, you had to remember the permittivity of free space, you had to remember the, obviously, basic stuff like charge for electron, you also had to remember the Boltzmann constant, which is obviously 8.31, which people should know. But again, doing A-level, you kind of get so familiar with so many exams, you do it anyway. And they do give you formula sheets to a degree, but it's very limited as what you would get at A-level, because you're expected to like expand off formulas that you're already given and adapt to formulas that you need to know to finish a question. So again, something you should be aware of. But overall, just the biggest change. Oh yeah, obviously it goes without saying that you're gonna have to do your own laundry, you're gonna have to do your own cooking, whatever. So I think I'll start with cooking. So one of the questions that people have asked me, I believe people do ask me questions, is what food you cook here. Well, depends what kind of like bad you are with cooking. I've had some people that have nearly set the fire alarm off in my flat for cooking pasta with no water. Now, if you've watched my YouTube channel before, you've either done physics, maths, or something intelligent. So I'm assuming you intelligent people know you don't cook pasta with no water, because pasta with no water equals death, and death squared equals other people die too, so it's not such a good idea. What I would recommend, however, is just having a quick look at any basic recipes before you come here. Now, when at home, I do a bit of chefing. I'm not amazing, but I can cook and it doesn't kill people, so I class that as a bonus. Or friends, as the in-betweeners would call it, and I'm probably going to get sued for that, so while I enjoy the rest of my life, any other basic recipes you can think of are great. So, for example, what I generally do is try and because I'm a cheapskate, I try and make each meal last about 2 days. So, say, for example, one of my favourite meals to do is something with chicken, alright? So, you might get chicken curry, right? So, you get basic curry sauce. I use Patak's curry sauce, doesn't really matter, any brand, whatever, chicken sauce or tomato sauce, and then some diced chicken, and you can split the diced chicken in as half, and half your sauce, and then half your pasta, and then you put it all together, and then you'll be able to have half it one day, half the next day, and then that equates to about £1 a meal, so that's a good way to go. Pasta is great, you love pasta, it's like 40 for your bag, and you get loads of it. A lot of people seem to have an issue of actually cooking the right amount of pasta, and the issue a lot of people make is just chuck a load of pasta in at once, and it's done, there you go, pasta done. If you measure it out on the plate first, you can put it in there. Anyway, so that's a load of crap. Probably don't even need to talk about. I might make a YouTube for cooking or whatever. So yeah, so anything basic, it's up to you how you want to do it. But pizzas, I do have quite a few pizzas. You can tell I'm going to be about twice the size of this by the end of this year. So I'm aiming for at least. Yeah, so anything that will last over 2 days. So I gave an example there, chicken curry, but I'll talk about more of that in another video. Is there anything else that I need to mention? Yes, there is. In terms of reading ahead, now, for those of you that probably watch my old videos at A-level, you'll probably be aware that I looked quite far ahead at A-level, if you were following the videos as I was doing them. So I might have done a Unit 5 video when I've not even finished Unit 5 yet. And that's because I wanted to get an understanding of what you're actually doing, so reading ahead is good. And you get a reading list at uni, you don't necessarily, it's not like, actually this would be a good opportunity to go back to this book now. So with this book, okay, they give it for us our course and they said, right, this is your book, enjoy. This is not written for our course. It's not like AQA where you get a book and it says AQA on the front of it, physics A level A, or whatever you did, okay? It's not like that at uni, okay? You just get a book and it's just a reading book. You just pick out specifically what, it's like, best way to think about it, it's a newspaper, right? If you're looking for the scores in the newspaper for a game of football, you're not going to read all the newspapers. You're going to look for the bit in the newspaper that talks about football scores or rugby scores or whatever it is you're looking at, okay? And you look at that specific part of the newspaper, okay? So that's kind of what these books are like, really. You're more than welcome to read into it, and they don't stop you doing that, and it helps you, and that's great. Okay, but do be aware that there is no exam board, which means no official exam certified books, which means you have to be a bit more self-aware about what you're actually going to be trying to read. Okay, so that's pretty good. Is there anything else that I need to mention? Probably should have been a bit more prepared for this, actually. You know, I'm sure there was something else I need to mention. Sorry guys, I'll just pause and have a think. There's anything else I missed out? Right, sorry. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about. One more thing I want to mention is lectures. Now, your tutors at college or high school or whenever you're watching this video, right, might have said to you, you'll be stuffed at uni. You're on your own, lecturers are not there to help you. When in fact, like you hear at every single stage of your education, your past bit of education was a lie. Well, I can tell you definitively that this isn't a lie that I'm going to tell you now, okay? I had to put my finger down because it's that serious, right? It's serious stuff. But the lecturers are there to help you out, right? They say that because lecturers at uni, most of them, pretty much all of them are doctorates, okay? So they're doing their own research, they're researching whatever it is, and they're just teaching at the same time. Now, it's like anything in life. People who are interested in it are better at it, okay? So you might get lecturers who are interested in teaching, and they love teaching. And I mean, you can tell, I kind of like a bit of teaching myself. But I'm not going to go down that route because I don't really like how they treat teachers. But anyway, that's a different story. So, got to sidetrack myself there. So, yeah. For God's sake. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, making notes. Okay, so what I do when I make notes, okay, this is totally different how different people make notes. Some lecturers record their lectures, which means people just sit there and go, who cares, I'm just going to sit here and do absolutely nothing because it's been recorded anyway, so I could just go home and watch a lecture at home. You don't want to be doing that because, well, you don't want to be doing that because it's a waste of time. Why the hell be there in the first place if that's how your attitude is? But instead of telling you off, what I'm going to do is explain what I do. Okay, so I use my laptop, and in case you know what laptop is, this thing here, and my pad and paper, pens. Okay, so what I do is I'll go, right, sat in a lecture. Now, a lot of the time, lecturers only have a small period to talk. Okay, so they'll rush through a load of stuff. And if you're like me, not a particularly fast writer, okay, what I do is I go, right, I'm going to use my laptop for all the stuff I can quickly write down, okay? So if they're talking about, facts, topics, or whatever, I can write it down on my laptop dead fast, while people who are writing on paper, are still writing down the last thing they said. Because one of the things you don't want to be doing at uni is writing something and the lecturer's explaining something else. Because then you're playing catch up for 2 hours, and trust me, that is not fun, okay? So what you want to be doing, and some lecturers, you have to kind of judge if you're allowed laptops or not. If you are, great, do what I do. If you're not, you just have to learn to write faster, or shorter, or notes, or whatever. So I'll make a rough copy on my laptop, a rough copy in paper. So the rough copy in paper will be the diagrams, and then after the lecture, I'll go home, or here, sorry, it says home now, and write them together in a long document, and then convert that document into keynotes. So I've got all the lectures keynotes, and I can waste my time drawing the diagrams. Okay, so that's what I've done today. I've had lectures today, been in labs, and I've come home and wrote my lecture up, and now I'm doing this video. So that's kind of what that is about. Right, okay, so that's making notes in lectures. I think that's pretty much everything. Just to reiterate, what I'm going to be doing in the next few years is topic videos on whatever topic I'm doing, and if it's what you're doing, great, might not necessarily be what you're doing, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be teaching your whole life forever, fortunately. Sorry about that. I mean, you could just listen to me waffle on and on, as you know he's probably watching now, but it's something to consider that your course might differ from mine in terms of, especially if you're doing physics, there's so many different flavours, and I've not even chosen what flavour I actually want yet. I've selected physics and astrophysics, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Okay, so that's all the uni stuff out of the way. I'm just going to finish off the last minute or two of this video, and trust me, there's only a minute or two left, so if you've got this far, well done. But I'm just going to go through what I personally want to do as a course, okay? So my plan is to go through, I'm on the 3-year course for physics and astrophysics, and I intend to go to the 4-year course. Actually, there's something else I need to mention. Sorry, just before I go. One thing I do want to mention is that a lot of people take the attitude in first year that it's a walk in the park, it doesn't matter, 40%. But the uni looks at that score, and if they don't think you're good enough, they have the right to kick you off the course, okay? So if you're kind of the person that goes, right, 40% is good enough for me, I don't need to do anything else. I want to go on the 4-year course, so I have to get 60% in my first year to be able to think about doing that. But in essence, I actually want to go into my doctorate, okay? I'm going to do, probably not going to get the funding for it, and if I do, I'll be probably going to be classing myself as a tax idea as a hobo for the next 60 years. So I can exclude my debt. But obviously the tax people didn't hear that, did they? But obviously I'm only kidding about that. So what I'm trying to get across to you is that you can go straight from a 3-year course to a doctorate, okay? So there is no requirement for you to do a 4-year course, and the funding for the masters and the doctorates have just been released, okay? So you can now do that through student finance, as you have done financed your 3-year course, what it should have been like in the first place, if you're brutally honest. Okay, so that's my idea of what I'm going to do. Like I said, any questions, just please leave a message on this technical device, YouTube, whatever it is, and I'll get back to you. But sorry about this video, it's been a quite literally a video of me waving my hands about like a friggin' idiot, and you occasionally listening to me talk, apart from being asleep. But I just wanted to get my experience from the first few days at uni just across you on camera, and just a bit of an update that the channel is still going, so don't be afraid. But if you're actually watching this and you're still doing A-level, good luck in your exams, and I wish you all the best of luck. And if you have any problems with your A-level exams, please do message me, and I'll try and help you. But obviously, if you look at my channel, that's what I've done at A-level, so if you're not obviously going to ask me about a law degree, I can't possibly help you. If you are coming to New Clan next year, then just if you see me around campus, just say hello. I might even make myself think I'm popular at some point. But it is worth like just saying hello to me, because I feel quite good that people actually looks like I have friends. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you here at UClan next year. See ya. Right, so sorry guys, just one more thing actually before I do really go, because I didn't plan this video very well at all. Getting a job at uni is something that I wouldn't necessarily recommend unless you absolutely have to, because getting a job, then you obviously devote quite a bit of your time to that. So personally for me, I have saved up over the year, because I've had kind of a year out doing this and just being a rebellious kid, you know, just redoing his maths. So it's up to you whether you get a job, but I personally wouldn't. I would make sure you're home for Christmas and summer, obviously, and get a job then, save up then. But I wouldn't get a job while you're at uni, because I think it's a bit too much risk. But again, it's up to you, so whatever you want to do. Okay? Alright, sorry about that. Cheers guys.